Good evening, everyone. This is Vinod from Excel Snippet, and you are watching Excel Power Query and Power Pivot 3.0 series video number 1. So you all would have thought about it, why we have a new logic called Power Query and Power Pivot inside Excel, why we need them. Probably if you are a user who worked probably in the mid of 2005 and the later part of 2001 to 10 and then 10 to 15 time, where we kept Excel as an analytical tool, as a front end object. We never had this as a storage data part. We never able to store a bigger data in Excel. So until 2003 version, you know the anatomy of Excel, we had only 65,536 rows. In only 2007 version, it was upped by the antidote of 1 million line items. Again, nowadays the data are even becoming more complex and more voluminous in nature. Excel is no longer capable of handling that bigger data until we have the Power Query and Power Pivot. Okay, the Power Query and Power Pivot is a concept which was developed in 2013 version as an add-on. But in 2016 version, this has become a part of Excel. So this allowed Excel to become a singular application which allows us not just to do data analytics or data analysis, but also store data and retrieve the data at a larger numbers possible by Excel. So again, here I have two windows to do so. If my data are less than million and odd, or less than the 10,48,576 rows, then I may use the Excel sheet itself as a data part. And if you want a data beyond the Excel sheet capacity, that is where my Power Pivot comes into play. So it is going to be a very different tool now, and initially it will be a little tougher for us to handle it, those who have already worked on it. But again, this is going to be a big time saver for you. It's going to take a lot of your effort, and it's going to save a hell of a lot of time for you to work around. So let's see how to deal with it. If you want to play around with Power Query, then you have to jump to the data tab, and Excel have given one slot for this. We don't see the Power Query terms are available in our outer part of the data, but when I get into the data, you will see a Power Query editor pops up to our window when you do the data preparation part in Excel itself. We call this range as get and transform data. This allows us to add a data to multiple sheets in our list. I already have few sheets here with me. My first sheet talks about a 12 data here. You can see it is a dynamic table. You can see a table formatted data here, and I got a pivot table here. And I have one more sheet in here, which gives you a lot of data here. And then gives you a pivot table also next to it. And if this is a growing data, if you're using the older way without touching the Power Query and Power Pivot, probably you will spend a lot of time in doing it. But if you're using these two logics, then you can do them with fast. So let me show you how I'm going to do this. Let me delete these two data that I've already made here. I will add a new sheet as and how I get the data. So I'm going to play around with the Power Query in this particular video, and I'm going to show you how to import a singular data if I have so, and if I have one type of data as a folder, how I can import them. So I can see that, and we can see how it can work on in this list. So if you are using only a singular data, then I use the respective format to fetch the data. Again, you can see that the get and transform data, I can just fetch a data from a text and CSV file, from web, from a table and a range, and other resources too. If I'm bringing in as a singular file, if it is not a flat file, it's going to be a database file, then I use the get and transform or get data file where I can pull them one by one. If it is an Excel file, then I'll use from workbook. You already have this text and CSV on top. If it is an XML file, I'll do it in this way. If it is a JSON file, and if it is a collection of similar files in similar pattern, and then I may use from folder. When I come down to a database, I can pull out SQL database and then access analytical services too. But what I'm doing right now, or what I'm having, is a very minimal version of Excel. So what I have here is a business version of Excel, that is Microsoft 365 application for business. It is not an enterprise edition. If it is an enterprise edition, I will be getting a lot of more, because even this online service is active for me. I can pull a data from this, and then Azure service will have a lot of data here. I'm not just going to have a data explorer here. I will see a hell lot of data in Azure services. When I go to others, you can see the old tool that we have already used in most of our list, Microsoft Query and Open Database Connectivity, ODBC. And you can combine a query here, and you can do a lot of things in this list. So I'm going to just use a very simple logic. As we go forward, we'll be learning more and more things about how to work with Power Query and Power Pivot. So I'm going to add a singular file right now. So I'm going to just go back to my from file, then it gives you a list here. So let me go back to my Power Pivot point, and then I'll take one file from our list. So this is a singular file that I'm importing into it. Then it pops up a window for us, and it's asking you what you want to do. If it's a singular file, you can see that the file is already open for us. If it is a multiple file, you won't get the file opened like this. Now we can directly load this. So I'm going to just see that I have three options here. So load and load to. So load means it will add a brand new sheet to me automatically. So I'm going to just say load. My data are perfect right now. So it adds a new sheet to me, and then I've added it. Now I got txt file or text files added directly to my new sheet. If you want to create a report out of it, come back to your insert, go back to the pivot table, existing sheet, and then add a report here. So when I click the months, it's going to give you all the months here. So I'm going to just say month and sales. I'm happy about it. If you want them to be in a quarter this, just give a right click here and then group them according to your list. So now I'm going to just remove the months, and I got the year and quarter break here. And I'm going to just drag this to the quarter part. Now I'm going to format this, give a right click, value field settings, number format, and accounting here. And then, okay, now you got your first report ready for this month. If I want to add more data to this list, I can happily add it, but I have to add one below the other. So I won't add them separately if I have all the data with me regularly, or already it is, if it is ready with me, probably I will choose the folder option to do so. So if I have a data like this, I don't do one by one. That's going to take a lot of time. So I'm going to save a lot of time here. So I'm going to just show that I am about to do all of them in one shot. So let's see how to do this in a one shot part. For this, I'm about to go back to my data again, and I'm going to go to the from file option and from folder option. This screen will be a little different because I'm going to browse this, and when I add this, it's not going to show me the entire data to me. So it's going to show the data in a very different manner, and I have to fetch this data correctly and then get the data done properly. So I'm going to take my text files, give an OK, and open it. Again, I'm entering it in multiple folders here. So you can see that it didn't show like my earlier file showed me. The earlier file was expanded automatically, but this shows the file name and the format in it. So here I need to remove unwanted fields here. So I'm going to use third button here called, if it is coming with a later data, probably I can just combine or load it. As I don't want other data, I'm going to just transform this. So when I transform this, it shows good. It's going to show a lot of information for us. It's going to show the file name, file type, when it is created, when it is modified, where it is available, and so on. I'm so keen to only have this as a data. The rest of them are not immaterial for me. If you want to maintain the name of the file, you can keep these two, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give a right click. And before I do that, I'm going to see that it's in sequential part. So it says 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. So I'm happy about it. Remove the other column. Now I'm going to click this double arrow down. We call this as combine files. You can see this option available in our Power Query editor here. When I click this, it automatically expands and shows the first files preview alone. So you can see the first file previews are available here. When I give an OK, it extracts all the 6 files and shows one by one almost around 12 into 672 line items. Now I'm going to say close and load because it's going to add a brand new sheet to me, and it loaded the data for me. Now my data comes in a data table format, and I'm going to add a pivot table to this list. So whatever I did in the previous part, I'm going to do the same with the tick mark. Now we can see that the auto grouping is happening automatically. Earlier I did the year component. Now I have multiple years, so it showed the auto group component for me. I don't want the month. I want the quarter to be on the right and the sales to be at the bottom. And then I'm going to add all these data with a currency symbol in it. Value field settings, number format with accounting in it. Okay, and okay, here we go. We got our list. Just make some tweaks here. Go to design, report layout, show in tabular form. Now we get each and every data available for you in this list. So I made one single file in the initial part. Now I'm doing multi files with these. So this is how we will play around with Power Query Editor. So hope you enjoyed a new way of data analyzing. I'll show more about it in my upcoming video when I add multi-dimensional data and create a chart out of it. This is Vinod from our Excel Snippet channel, and this is Power Query and Power Pivot 3.0 series, video number 1. Why we need a Power Query and Power Pivot, and how do you import data from a different format altogether. I did the first part. Now I'm going to do the second part in my upcoming video. That is video number 2. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much. This is Vinod signing out.